What's up, everybody? Mark with Kardavox Academy here, and are you hyped? Because I am hyped, because we are talking about the hype band themselves. Themselves. I think themselves. Eskimo Callboy. They've got a new song out. Well, new to me, We Got the Moves. If you're new to my channel, essentially what we do here, I myself am a metal vocalist. I do have a very different style of metal than this, but I'm also a metal vocal coach. I'm in 3 bands, Kardashev, Neverbreath, and Viremia, and I also teach people how to predominantly do any and all types of distorted, gritty, gurgly, heavily textured vocalization. So what we do is we take the reaction format, we break it down, we try to have as much fun as possible. We try to make these reaction videos educational as well. So that being said, if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're getting real close to 100,000 viewers, subscribers, and I'm really excited about that. If I'm going to do this right, I need to do this video right. 1 second. Let's do this.
Summer mood, hot sand under my feet. Cold beer, cheap wine, yeah, that's all that we need. We got the moves, and everybody's like, oh fuck yeah, let's do it again. We got the moves, when everybody's like, yesterday we drank too much, let's do it again. We got the groove, so everybody put your hands right up. Tonight is the night.
Okay. All right, so we've got to pause here. Now, I felt like if I was going to do an Eskimo Callboy song, I needed to get in on the fun as well. I needed to get kind of goofy because I think the best way to enjoy this music is if you just embrace the silliness yourself. So that's what we're doing here. Now, even though I look ridiculous, let's get serious. Let's talk about vocals here. So obviously at the beginning, we have just sort of a gritty, kind of rumbly fry spoken register. Not the same as a fry scream, but our spoken register fry sound. And then we move into some actual, fry forward tones. Now, fry is a very big term that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But generally speaking, what we're going to have is we're going to be holding the vocal folds closer together, right, to create distortion in the space above the vocal folds, right? Sometimes there are bands that can create the distortion on the vocal folds themselves. That is a very, very specific technique. Fit for a King, Old School, Infinite Annihilator, and those vocals tend to be a little bit more on the quiet spoken level side. What we have here is a little bit more of a belted tone. So like they're doing their more, this is a very common sound for them, but they're doing their tone, which is more like, yay, tonight is the night! Tonight is the night! That's a lot more of the tone and the sound that we're getting here, especially when you heard it more isolated in the center, which is a really great tone for like this kind of party metal, right? This sort of like this super fun, super goofy party metal vibe. And then we got some clean singing. So we're going to go back and we're going to kind of listen to this a little bit together. And we're just going to have a grand old time because that's what we do here. Let's go. Let's go here.
Hot sand under my feet. Cold beer, cheap wine, yeah, that's all that we need. We got the moves, and everybody's like, oh fuck yeah, let's do it again. We got the moves, when everybody's like, yesterday we drank too much, let's do it again. We got the groove, so everybody put your hands right up. Tonight is the night. We're free, sipping on booze on a sunny beach. We're alive, we believe that summertime memories will never fade away.
Okay, cool. So actually, we had some pretty solid pop singing there. That is a very, very frontal, a very masky, a very bright sounding pop voice. Now, I didn't do a lot of pop singing myself, but it sounded like to me they were definitely kind of working with a sort of a falsetto sound. It was lighter. It didn't have like the deep, rich tone that you might have in like, a more classical style song, or like, the Scion video we did, Howard Jones, where he has all that depth and roundedness of tone. This is very much for ooh, 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 yeah, ooh, right? Light and thin, coming kind of straight from the cheekbones. Now, one thing that this is really that's really important with this, along with the fry tone, right? That fry forward belt that we have is going to be having an open throat, right? Oftentimes when we're screaming, oftentimes when we're singing more like high notes, right? When we're doing stuff like that, we think we have to squeeze the note out. This is often not true. One thing that I talk with my students a lot about is that you have to think down to go up. I have to breathe in. And, when we stand up, we push against the floor, right? Hey, to stand up, I got to push against the floor. Likewise, oftentimes to get these tones out, even at lower levels, even when it's like a lighter voice, or I should say, less of a belted voice, we're activating a sensation on the pelvic floor. A lot of other people have talked about this a long time. The dump, Melissa Cross called it, right? Kind of giving this squeeze, like the sensation of picking something up. That allows us to transfer the work down so our neck can be open and relaxed, and we can create these distorted sounds or these clean, rich tones to come through unobstructed, right? You want your voice to be guided, not blocked off by a dam, right? Let's go back a little bit and let's keep going. Oh, my cup of water's in the way. Here we go. I want to hear this transition.
We're living the good life, high life. Everybody wants that hot vibe. We wanna feel it just all over and over again. More, just give me more. Cause we're addicted to the groove, oh yeah. We do it again. We got the move, we got the move. When everybody's right, yesterday we drank too much, let's do it again. We got the groove, we got the groove. So everybody put your hands straight up. Tonight is the night. We're free. Sipping on booze on the sandy beach. We're alive. We believe the summertime memories will never fade away. Will never fade away. Will never fade away. We don't need no club, all we need is the sun. Yeah, we will rave like hell till the weekend is done. We got the moves, we got the moves, and everybody put your hands straight up. Tonight is the night, we say.
All right, I can tell something kind of crazy is going to happen here because we just had a big build. Now it's empty. We've got some chanting. So we're going to take a second because I don't want to pause during the big moment that I'm sure we're about to get. So, a couple things. Oftentimes it can be kind of confusing to approach a fry tone because, like I talked about before, a lot of people, the fact of the matter is, with the metal vocals that I talk about on this channel and that many of us do, there hasn't been, and this is just fact, a lot of deep scientific research on these. It's actually just starting to gear up. And a lot of it is because over time, people resisted. It's not because we metal people don't want it. We've wanted it for a long time, but there has been some opposition and blocking of researching this because it wasn't singing for a long time. So if anybody gets mad at us for not having that, it ain't our fault. But anyway, that being said, we kind of have to understand this sound and where it's coming from. So if you're trying to find this sound and you're hearing people say like, oh, this is kind of a fry forward tone, this is not going to be the same sound that you achieve by making a really quiet like, mo, whoa. That isn't that's a different sound entirely. This is going to come from kind of getting used to projecting sort of a extremely loose, extremely open, breathy voice. I hesitate to call it falsetto because a falsetto is a very controlled sound. But if I take this, hey, tonight is the night, I've got kind of like a Mickey Mouse, hey, tonight, right? And if I take that and I start adding a little bit of a grunt, it's interesting. We can sometimes take a false chord grunt and use it to find this sound, right? Tonight, tonight is the night, right? Now, when I make these sounds, it is a very distinctly different feeling than our false chord or arytenoidal ariepiglottic screams. It is also far removed and above the actual vocal folds themselves. It's a more open tone than I would get from like the aryepiglottic arytenoidal. It's a very different tone than that. It's much more open and it's much more released. So you can take this, hey, ha, 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 and before you even think about adding distortion, you want to make sure that you've focused mostly on opening up the neck, utilizing that downward pressure I've talked about. Hey, ha, ha, my voice feels open. I don't feel any strain or restriction. I could talk like this for a long time. Ha, ha. Then start giving it little grunts. Hey, hey, hey. These grunts should feel like they're generating from the back of your mouth. Hey, 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 yeah, ah. It may start out having more of like a black metal vibe, but it's all in how you deliver the sound. It's all about how you deliver the tone, right? Set the expectation that this may take a long time, right? There's not necessarily a master your metal vocal in 7 days type of thing. Everybody's different. Don't rush. Take your time. You know, a lot of times when we focus on learning a metal vocal, we may just work with our clean voice for weeks, right? To understand and to build a relationship with the instrument that we're playing. If you don't take time to investigate your voice to see where your tension lies, you can't really remove it, especially because you have to learn how to feel through all of these distorted sounds. When I'm doing stuff like this, there's a lot of sensation going on. And if I don't understand that sensation and I don't understand the instrument beneath the sensation, I'm gonna have a hard time controlling it. Anyway, I just talked a whole hell of a lot. Let's go ahead and hear what's gonna happen next. I like this guy's vibes. Let's go. Ooh, what's gonna happen? All right. So to my boys in Eskimo Callboy, you just exemplified exactly what I was talking about. Thank you so much. So remember how like 2 minutes ago, I was like, yo, this may have more of a black metal vibe than you're looking for, but it's all about the delivery. We just heard that. So far it's had like sort of a party vibe, right? If I was to speak the way that they're delivering these vocals, it would sound like this, man. What's up? Thanks for coming to my party, bro. It's good to see you. Grab a drink and let's go. Hey, right? It has that vibe, right? And it's totally silly to make that noise. I sounded silly when I did that. But at the same time, playing with silly voices is part of how the vast majority of metal vocalists have found their iconic tones and where these styles come from, right? Dickie Allen with his goblin voice, he just kind of played around with goblin sounds and here he was, right? Now, people like that are kind of the exception, not the rule. We all don't find our way to distortion that easily. But that being said, he's using this party voice. Then when those like crazy, like staccato like riffs started coming in, he started snarling. So he started using the same or basically the same vocal technique, but instead of talking like a party boy, he was talking like a villain, bright, forward, sinister, chewing on the sounds, right? And we can take like, if I take like my typical high vocal, nay, let's do it again, right? Let's do it again, right? Versus, let's do it again, right? Same technique, different delivery, right? Oh, that was sick. Let's listen to that one more time. Here it comes. It sounds like he might have switched his distortion a little bit. It was a little bit, I should say, tighter and more concise. So it sounds like he might have had a little bit of this. He might have had a little bit of that going on. But essentially, that's a good example of what I was talking about. So let's see where the song goes next.
Sipping on booze on a sunny beach, we're alive. We believe the summertime memories. We're young, we're free. Sipping on booze on a sunny beach, we're alive. We believe the summertime memories will never fade away. Will never fade away. Will never fade away.
Whoa! I think I just saw like a T-bone steak walk out of a van. What the hell? Don't fight that guy. Do not fight that guy. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, and then we're gonna wrap it up. This right here, when he's in the pool, I can't quite remember where it was. Maybe, oh, I think I found it. My camera actually covers up part of the screen. Yeah, so here's a really cool example of how over time, as you sing, you can take the fundamentals and kind of bend them, right? So anybody who's taken a vocal lesson with me before has heard me say many times how important it is to open the mouth wide. Ah, right there. Ah, right there. Ah, to create open space. This is really important when you start, and gonna be really important for a lot of things that you do. Now here, if you listen to his voice, if you listen to the quality, you can actually tell he's singing with a slightly closed mouth. Or I should say, slightly smaller embouchure, maybe is a better way to say it.
The summertime memories.
Hey, the summertime memories, right? So it's a little bit more sultry. Summertime memories at a body at night, right? When we learn how the instrument works, and this is what I was talking about before, when we understand the instrument, we can start to do things a little bit more experimentally. It's kind of like how growing up, you take language composition, right? Whatever your first language is, they're like, all these rules, never end a sentence with a preposition, I before E, that's a lie, and all these things. And then you get to your poetry class and your professor's like, nah, that's all bull crap, don't pay attention to it. That does kind of happen with different styles of singing as well. We learn how to do, like with a metal vocal, right? We learn how to control, how to absorb the shock, how to respond to the effort and balance, the balance of effort and relaxation that you have from here. Right? So that way we can say, what if I did scream through grit teeth? And then I called upon the Lord. Right? Oh, that's kind of cool. So getting a little experimental, taking the basics and slightly bending them once you have a solid voice. Now, I'm not saying that this guy, like this section is anything like, oh, we've never heard like this low, sultry, kind of alluring tone before. It's a very common sound, but I'm just saying like this is a good example of how the fundamentals can be used as a springboard versus a set of commandments. Something to think about. Anyways, that was a really fun song. Let's go ahead and finish it out, and then we'll wrap it up. But if you enjoyed it, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. We do have a Patreon if you want more of these videos to come out. If you want to vote on a video for me to react to a month, this is the place to go. But more than anything, your time today was appreciated. We're gonna finish this song out on a party vibe, because that's kind of what you have to do. So, as always, many thanks, much love, let's go. Oh, and of course my internet freezes. Ah!
We're young, we're free. Sipping on booze on a sunny beach, we're alive. We believe the summertime memories will never fade away. Will never fade away. Will never fade away.
This stuff is ridiculous. I'm out.